All right, let's get to the Saturday games here. Kansas City Chiefs get the win 27-19 over the Houston Texans. Chiefs move to 14-1. They're just again one win or a Buffalo slip up away from getting that number 1 seed. Texans fall to 9-6. We may have talked this is like the 5th straight Patrick Mahomes injury that we overrated. He looked like he couldn't even walk on Sunday against the Browns, and he comes out and kicks the game off with a 15-yard touchdown scramble. So health was not an issue.
Yeah.
And Marquez Brown made his return. And look, Kansas City still hasn't put up over 30 points in a game this year. That is true. But they're playing these ball control, compressed types of games. This was one of the best games their offense played in a few weeks here. And I think Marquez Brown maybe opens things up a little bit for this offense. Another weapon.
I feel like that stat lost a lot of weight once we had to make it over 30 points. It used to be
hit 30
previously,
once or twice.
Yeah, previously, it was Kansas City still hasn't scored 30 points this season. That kind of had some resonance. Like that landed. And then they got to exactly 30, and we had to modify the stat to be like, oh, well, they haven't scored over 30 points this season. It feels a little contrived now. I'm just not as impressed by it as I was when it was reaching 30.
Houston. So Kansas City came out firing. Houston made a few big plays to get back into it. The biggest of which, C.J. Stroud hitting Tank Dell on a long touchdown. Thank you for my prize picks projection. But man, Tank Dell, unfortunate injury on that play. Unbelievable throw by Stroud. Unbelievable catch by Tank Dell to hold on through his leg injury. But man, he gets injured once again. It looked pretty bad.
Man, I feel so bad for Tank Dell. I mean, amazing to hold on through that. Like, I have seen injuries where players have thrown the ball away, like literally thrown it away. They're in so much pain. Tank Dell's lower leg is hanging off at an angle that it's not supposed to, and he still held on through the ground, completed the catch, and kept hold of the football before he was given medical attention. And that's now 2 years in a row where the poor guy has gone down for the year on essentially friendly fire, right? Like, remember the last injury, he was blocking on the goal line, trying to help his team get in the rushing touchdown, and his leg got kind of rolled up from behind. And this one, it was a teammate coming in from the side that caves his leg in. Looked like a really nasty injury. They said it was a dislocated kneecap, but when you sort of listen to the Twitter doctors out there, they're like, there's more to that injury than just that. I mean, David Chow was out there saying you don't get kept in the hospital overnight for a quote-unquote simple, dislocated kneecap. Like, there's other bits associated to that injury. Just so unfortunate for Tank Dell because he's a great player. Like, he's this undersized guy, but he's lightning fast. He can make great catches like that. And for Houston, I mean, this is they're still in good shape overall, but no Stephon Diggs now, no Tank Dell now. The offensive line is getting more and more banged up, and it was already a problematic unit. At one point in this game, the entire right side was down. Shaq Mason went down as well in that game. The right tackle went down for a period, and he came back. We're in this world where some of these teams are sort of staggering into the postseason under the weight of all the injuries. Houston is getting really badly banged up right now.
Yeah, they are. And it's another game, this was supposed to be a big part of their test. I've talked about the Texans ceiling still feeling high to me because they haven't played to their potential. But another game, against a good Chiefs team, and never really felt like the Texans. Of course, they took a lead early second half, but it never really felt like they had a chance. They couldn't slow the Chiefs down when they needed to offensively, other than maybe, forcing a field goal in the fourth quarter. But the Chiefs offense moved the ball pretty effectively, ran out the clock, did their thing in the fourth quarter. Long drive to kick a field goal to go up 8, and then a 3-and-out, and then, ran out the last 3 minutes plus, almost 4 minutes to finish the game. And that's where the Chiefs offense has shines this year. It's not the explosiveness. It's not the big plays. I am interested to see if those show up a little bit more now that defenses do have to, think about this. Andy Reid and the Chiefs, who tend to save stuff for the playoffs. I don't think that's fake. I don't think that's just Chiefs fans saying, oh, we'll save the good stuff. There's elements of that. Andy Reid now having Marquise Brown, Xavier Worthy, who looks a little bit more comfortable now, and DeAndre Hopkins all in the field at the same time. Travis Kelce's still out there as well. I think they'll have, some explosive play opportunities in the playoffs, but they've they've run this ball control offense extremely well to complement their defense.
Well, the other thing, so, obviously Mahomes' ankle was significantly better than we thought it might be based off his injury, the way he left the game. But the big concern, do you play him, do you rest him, was the offensive line and what that could do against the Houston pass rush. They really shut down that Houston pass rush because the ball came out quicker. That, for Mahomes, was an average time to throw in that game of 2.48 seconds. I think there's a stat here. NGS had a stat that Mahomes was most efficient in the quick passing game in their win over the Texans, finishing 17 of 19 for 155 yards and a touchdown on passes under 2.5 seconds. Mahomes averaged his fastest time to throw. They have 2.5. PFF has 2.48, same ballpark, in a game since week 4 of 2021, powered by AWS, according to them. So this was like they had a problem on the offensive line. Joe Thuney, that's their solution, right? Joe Thuney, the left guard, is playing left tackle against top-tier pass rushers. That weakens 2 offensive line spots because you've got Caliendo out there at left guard. And it wasn't a problem in this game, despite, I think, neither one of those guys on an individual level being amazing, because the ball came out faster than it usually comes out. And whether that's a Marquise Brown thing helping that out, but they're able to get the ball out fast when they need to.
Even though we may have overrated Mahomes' injury, we were right about that part. Going in with the injury, a probable game plan to get the ball out of his hand, to be a little bit more decisive, reads 1, 2, and 3 before trying to run around. Other than a couple scrambles, you did see that, getting the ball out quickly. And so, look, Mahomes, Chiefs, multiple ways to win offensively. And for the Texans, just a tick below, I think, where they were going to be. Yeah, the offensive line, pass protection issues. Stroud made some special plays, but they needed even more to pull the upset.
And then the other stat that came out of this game was around the NFL. I had a tweet. Kansas City now has a 14-win streak with 30 or fewer points this season, as you said, is now the most in NFL history, which the reason I like this stat is it breaks a tie with the 1925 Frankford Yellow Jackets. And anytime can invoke the Frankford Yellow Jackets in an NFL stat, you got to do it.
What a powerhouse that year the Yellow Jackets were, and, impressive that the Chiefs could even be mentioned in the same breath as the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets. That's a special season Kansas City's putting together here.
I mean, that's the controversial 25 Frankfurt Yellow Jackets. That was the Pottsville Maroons championship controversy, which you'll know all too well.
One more thing about this game that I don't know if anybody cares about. My Saturday, look, I'm back in Massachusetts with the kids, and we're taking the kids around doing Christmas activities and everything. And I had to live a childhood nightmare, which was there's a big game on, and I've been brought to a museum. The Museum of Fine Arts. It's like a nightmare, right? I'm over here. I want to watch a game, big game's on, and I got to go to the museum. But I made do. I sat by myself, streaming the game on my phone with my iPad, watching the game while the kids and my wife walked around and looked at art or whatever they did. So we made do during this game on Saturday.
I was texting you at the time. I was like, you are basically living a TV commercial at this point, right? It's like a deathly silent museum, and you, this giant 6'10" guy sitting there on your phone watching games, presumably yelling out, cheers or encouragement or
I
noise.
Almost did. When Tank Dell made that catch, I almost screamed in this quiet, whatever. It was outstanding. So anything else on Chiefs Texans? Like I said earlier, Chiefs 1 win away from clinching the number 1 seed. They'll turn around here on Christmas and take on the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, big picture for the two teams. Houston just continues to get more and more banged up in important aspects, and they feel like one of those teams staggering into the postseason. Meanwhile, Kansas City showed that they're capable of that kind of adjustment. I mean, we said this going into the game, right? This was the point you brought up in the preview show. Mahomes has demonstrated now a repeated ability to change his game and adapt it for specific in-game circumstances. That was a different offense than we've seen from Kansas City. The ball came out fast. Mahomes was able to mitigate the pressure from his own offensive line because the ball came out quicker. And whether or not he's able to scramble, it does, like, he's able to change the whole dynamic by the way he plays the game. And that is one of the reasons why this team remains, the favorite, I guess, for a three-peat. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.